the heaviest, the most dangerous structure on your property probably isn't your roof.
Right. Not at all.
It's this 10-ton biological lever standing right in your front yard, and it's silently losing a structural war against gravity. So today, we are completely changing how you look at the trees right outside your window.
Yeah, because we tend to look at the landscaping around our homes and, we just see shade or curb appeal.
Hmm.
We fall into this trap of treating trees as permanent, indestructible fixtures in our environment,
Hmm.
almost like statues that just happen to have leaves.
Okay, let's unpack this because our source material for today's deep dive is a really fascinating series of articles published between April and July of 2026.
Yeah, these are great.
They were written by John Constantine for El Monte Tree Service, which is based out in Southern California. And the mission here is to look way past the green leaves and uncover the hidden mechanics.
Exactly.
We are diving into what these sources actually call arboricultural physics to expose the surprising safety risks lurking in an overgrown yard.
Right, and when you read through this material, you realize really quickly that this is not a gardening guide about planting petunias.
No, definitely not.
This is a detailed look at structural engineering, proactive risk management, and the biological realities of how these massive structures fail over time. Because trees rarely just, fall over for no reason on a sunny afternoon.
Right, isn't it random?
No, they fail slowly, often over years, before reaching a catastrophic tipping point.
And the sources outline a clear set of visual warnings that precede that tipping point. It's just that most of us don't know how to read the signals,
Yeah, we just ignore them.
One of the most obvious red flags is sudden leaning. If a tree that was straight last month is suddenly tilted, the foundation has already given way. You also have to look out for heaved or uprooted soil around the base of the trunk.
And when you see that soil lifting, you're actually witnessing the tree's subterranean grip actively failing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, during local droughts, which are a massive issue in the region these articles cover, trees lose their internal turgor pressure.
Perker pressure.
Yeah, basically water pressure inside the plant. Without adequate water, the physical roots actually contract and shrink.
Wait, really? The roots shrink?
They do. And that shrinkage breaks the microscopic friction bonds between the root system and the surrounding earth. So the soil lifts because the anchor is literally pulling out of the ground.
That is wild. And then you look up at the trunk itself, right? Because the articles highlight deep vertical trunk cracks as an immediate danger.
Oh, absolutely.
This isn't just a surface blemish on the bark. A deep vertical crack means the sheer strength of the wood is gone.
Right, it's structurally compromised.
The entire weight-bearing structure of the tree is failing. And then you add widespread fungal growth or internal decay to that, and you have a recipe for disaster.
And what's fascinating here is that decay is frequently driven by the state of the canopy itself.
How so?
Well, the sources explain that an overgrown, unpruned canopy essentially engineers its own humid microclimate.
Oh, I see.
It traps moisture inside the dense layers of leaves and branches, completely blocking sunlight and airflow.
Wait, so an overgrown tree is basically creating its own humid microclimate. It's like wearing a heavy, wet winter coat that never dries out, so the tree just rots from the inside.
That is a perfect analogy. Yes, the wet winter coat effect. That trapped moisture creates a dark, humid incubator that accelerates fungal decay right at the structural core.
So it's rotting while it still looks green.
Exactly. Fungal spores land, they colonize the cambium layer, and they physically break down the cellulose that gives the wood its strength. The tree just rots from the inside out.
That is terrifying.
It is, and it's a perfect illustration of how poor aesthetic maintenance leads directly to structural failure. It also points to a dangerous psychological blind spot for homeowners, I think.
Because it still looks healthy on the outside.
Right. Because the outside of the canopy still looks green and leafy, we assume the structure is sound. Meanwhile, that decaying wood is acting as a massive magnet for pests.
Ugh, right. Bugs.
More than just bugs. Rodents seek shelter in the hollowed-out sections, and termites thrive on the rotting cellulose.
Oh, man.
And once a termite colony establishes itself in a dead tree in your yard, it is only a matter of time before they migrate. They go looking for their next food source, which is often the wooden foundation of your home.
Okay, so that wet winter coat effect hollows out the structural integrity of the trunk. but a hollow tree can stand for years in perfect conditions.
Right. It can.
What actually transforms that weakened biology into a structural collapse is the sudden introduction of extreme kinetic energy.
Yes.
And in Southern California, specifically El Monte, where these articles are focused, that means the Santa Ana wines.
The environmental stressors in that region are incredibly intense. You have the local droughts, shrinking the root systems, creating a weakened anchor, combined with these high-velocity wind events.
Right, the Santa Anas.
Yeah, the Santa Ana wines funnel through the mountain passes, and they gain incredible speed before slamming into residential neighborhoods.
The scientific solution to this threat, according to the sources, is a process called strategic crown thinning.
Yeah, because when a canopy is incredibly dense and overgrown, it acts as a solid physical barrier to the wind.
Just a wall of leaves.
Exactly.
Mm.
The aerodynamic drag on a solid wall of leaves and branches is immense. So strategic crown thinning is this highly precise arboricultural cutting technique.
So they don't just hack away at it.
No, not at all. Professionals remove very specific branches to reduce the density of the foliage. This allows those heavy, high-speed winds to pass safely through the canopy rather than pushing directly against it.
Here's where it gets really interesting. An unthinned tree canopy in a windstorm is fundamentally acting like a giant parachute or, a boat sail.
Oh, that's exactly what it is.
It catches every ounce of that moving air. If you don't thin out the branches to let the wind pass through, the sheer force of the air against that sail transfers directly down the trunk.
Right down to the anchor.
Right. And if the roots are already desiccated from drought, or the trunk is hollowed out by fungal rot like we talked about, the structure can't withstand the kinetic load. The wind catches the sail and rips the entire massive structure right out of the earth.
That dynamic is the absolute core of arboricultural physics. The canopy acts as the sail, the trunk acts as the lever, and the root system acts as the anchor.
Sail, lever, anchor. Got it.
If the sail catches too much wind and the anchor is compromised, the lever either snaps in half or pulls out of the ground entirely.
Wow.
Understanding that mechanism fundamentally changes how we should view professional tree trimming. It is not just a landscaper giving a tree a haircut for curb appeal.
No, it's way more serious.
It is a scientifically backed structural intervention. It reduces aerodynamic drag, increases airflow to eliminate those moisture-trapping fungal microclimates, and ultimately it extends the lifespan of mature landscaping.
And when that mechanical failure does happen, when the anchor gives out and the lever snaps, you are left with a 10-ton crisis blocking your driveway.
Yeah, a massive problem.
So let's walk through that aftermath. If a tree comes down across my property, my immediate instinct, I think the instinct for a lot of people, is to head to the garage, grab my chainsaw, and start clearing a path to the street so I can get to work.
Please don't do that.
Why do the sources explicitly warn that this is a terrible idea?
This raises an important question, right? Why do people think they can DIY a 10-ton fallen tree? Attempting a DIY extraction on a mature fallen tree is one of the most dangerous things a homeowner can do.
Really?
The articles are incredibly strict about this. A massive tree falling across a driveway obviously halts your daily routine, but you are not just dealing with a piece of dead wood resting peacefully on the concrete.
Right.
You are dealing with a complex web of highly tensioned timber and potentially downed live power lines tangled invisibly within the branches.
So what does this all mean in terms of physics? A mature tree can weigh upwards of 10 tons.
Easily.
When it crashes down, the trunk and the branches bend violently against the ground, the driveway, or other structures, and that bending action stores an unimaginable amount of kinetic energy inside the wood fibers. It transforms the fallen tree into a giant, unpredictable mousetrap. It's a loaded spring.
A loaded spring is the perfect way to describe it. The wood on the underside of a bent branch is under extreme compression, while the wood on the top is under extreme tension.
Okay, so push and pull.
Right. And if an amateur walks up with a chainsaw and makes a cut without understanding those invisible forces, the results are catastrophic.
Because the energy has to go somewhere.
Exactly. Cutting the wrong side of a tension branch releases all that stored kinetic energy instantly. Hundreds or even thousands of pounds of wood can snap back violently, causing severe injury or even death.
Oh my God.
Or, best case scenario, the chainsaw bar gets pinched permanently in the compression wood.
So you're just stuck.
Yeah. Safe removal requires heavy commercial machinery, cranes, and advanced rigging techniques to stabilize the weight and relieve the tension systematically before a single cut is even made.
It really highlights why you cannot treat a natural disaster as a weekend DIY project.
Definitely not.
Without specialized equipment and a deep understanding of the physics of tensioned wood, You are literally gambling with your life.
You really are.
But the sources also map out a critical, practical step for the homeowner in the immediate aftermath. Before the professional cleanup crews even arrive to touch the tree, you must document the scene.
Oh, yes. Crucial.
You need clear, comprehensive photos of the tree, the blocked driveway, and any damage to vehicles or the home for insurance purposes.
Locking down that visual evidence before the scene is altered is vital for the claims process. Insurance companies need proof of the initial impact state to properly assess the damage.
Okay, so that physical hazard is immense, but leaving the cleanup to the professionals isn't just about avoiding a snapback injury, right?
Right.
It ties directly into the broader financial architecture of property ownership. Let's move away from the doom and gloom of property destruction for a second.
Good idea.
If a homeowner is proactive rather than reactive, how does professional yard management actually function as a financial shield?
Well, think of an unmaintained tree as an unexploded ordinance on your property.
Okay.
The sources explicitly state that proactive maintenance prevents costly insurance claim denials.
Wait, denials?
Yeah. If a neglected diseased branch that you ignored for years finally rots through and falls on your neighbor's car, the insurance company doesn't view that as an act of God.
They don't.
No, they view it as an act of negligence.
Yeah.
Because you failed to perform standard structural maintenance, your provider can legally deny the claim, leaving you personally liable for all the damages.
Wow, so you'd have to pay out of pocket for the neighbor's car.
Exactly. Proactive trimming is literally just buying liability armor.
And the articles stress that acquiring this liability armor means you can't just hire anyone with a pickup truck and a chainsaw who knocks on your door.
No, you really can't.
You have to hire providers who carry specific tree care general liability and workers' compensation insurance.
This is huge.
They also have to thoroughly understand local municipal regulations, like the specific tree ordinances in Los Angeles County, to ensure all the pruning and removal is legally compliant.
The workers' compensation aspect is especially critical. Tree care is a high-risk industry.
Clearly.
If you hire an uninsured amateur to save a few dollars and they fall off a ladder or suffer a chainsaw injury on your property, you, the homeowner, can be held financially responsible for their medical bills.
Because it happened on your land.
Yes. Professional operations absorb that risk, so you don't have to. This rigorous insurance standard is why apartment complexes, schools, churches, and local businesses rely exclusively on certified commercial teams.
Makes sense.
For public and commercial spaces, managing liability, ensuring absolute safety for large groups, and maintaining a welcoming environment is paramount.
But looking at this list of secondary services mentioned in the articles, things like stump grinding and ivy removal, I have to ask, at what point does this cross the line from necessary structural safety into just a landscaper looking to pad the bill with aesthetic upsells? Is stump grinding and ivy removal really that essential?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's a common assumption that it's just an upsell. But when you look at the underlying mechanisms, those services are far from aesthetic. They are critical structural protection.
Really? Even the ivy?
Oh, especially the ivy. Take overgrown ivy on a brick wall or the side of a house. Looks picturesque, right?
Yeah, very classic.
But ivy roots secrete organic enzymes that chemically dissolve the calcium in the mortar.
Your kids.
So, over time, it turns the solid chemical bond holding your bricks together into loose sand. It physically digests the glue holding your home's exterior intact while trapping moisture against the siding.
It's essentially eating the house in slow motion.
Exactly.
And what about the stump grinding?
Leftover tree stumps are actively decaying organic matter. We discussed earlier how rotting wood attracts pests, remember?
Right, the rodents and termites.
Yeah, so if you leave a decaying stump in your lawn, you are providing a perfect moisture-rich food source for a termite colony to establish itself.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Once they consume the stump, they use it as a bridge to migrate straight to the wooden framing of your home. Grinding the stump down below grade physically severs that bridge.
It cuts off the food supply line.
It does. It removes the tripping hazard, sure, but more importantly, it protects your primary real estate investment from a hidden invasion.
That reframes the entire process for me. Once you clear out these hazards, once the pest bridge stumps are ground down, the mortar-eating ivy is removed, and the tree canopies are properly thinned to let the wind through the yard, can be completely reimagined.
It really opens up the possibilities.
The sources point out that homeowners can do a seasonal refresh twice a year. You can add patios, fire pits, and outdoor seating because you've transformed a hazardous area to safe, usable space.
Yeah, you get your yard back.
It boosts the physical resale value of the home and fosters real neighborhood pride.
It is the ultimate transition from managing a liability to investing in an asset. You stop worrying about what might fall on your roof during a storm, and you start enjoying a secure extension of your living space.
Let's do a quick recap of the ground we've covered today.
Sounds good.
We started by learning how to decode the hidden biological warning signs of tree failure, like sudden leaning, the loss of turgor pressure causing uprooted soil, and the moisture-trapping fungal rot of a wet winter coat canopy. We explored the arboricultural physics of the Santa Ana vines, understanding why an unthinned tree acts as a dangerous sail, and why strategic crown thinning is vital to relieve that kinetic stress.
A parachute effect.
Right. And finally, we unpacked the terrifying mechanics of tensioned wood in a fallen tree, treating it like a loaded spring, and why hiring heavily insured professionals is your best liability armor.
And I think there's a final thought I want to leave everyone with.
Yeah, please.
The next time you step outside and walk under a massive, beautiful old tree in your neighborhood, just stop and look up.
Just look up.
You aren't just looking at a piece of passive, quiet nature. You are looking at a complex, dynamic structure that is constantly waging an intense battle against gravity, wind, and biology.
That's a powerful image.
So ask yourself, are the trees around your home silent, healthy guardians of your property? Or are they unexploded ordinances just waiting for the next big windstorm?
That is a completely new way to look at the front yard. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking questions, keep looking closer at the world around you, and we'll see you next time.